Ewoks, droids, and Wookiees, it's Anna, also known as Star Wars Girl. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Alien Earth Episode 4. Now, if you missed my reviews of the past 3 episodes, they are all linked down below in the description of this video, but I am so excited to talk about this episode because, guys, I actually liked it. I know, crazy, right? But grab some popcorn, sit back, because there is so much to talk about in this episode, and I am so ready to talk about it. So let's get right into the review. Okay, so last episode ended with Wendy passing out in the lab because she was hearing the alien scream from being experimented on. And so she's waking up now in the synthetic lab for synths, for fixing all of the synthetics problems, right? And she has her sound turned off, or she has her hearing turned off. So they're all talking around her about like what happened. Her brother's sitting there holding her hand, and they're slowly turn her sound on. And then they start experimenting with different frequencies and sound waves, because it's like, hey, the aliens are talking to one another, and now they know that she can hear them. So it's like, huh, that might be important later, right? And we have this douchebag all excited about it. And for those of you giving me grief about constantly calling him the knockoff Timothée Chalamet, can I just explain? He is annoying. He has the stupidest name in the world. His name is Boy Cavalier. And I always thought they said Boyd, but apparently it's actually Boy. And it's like the whole Peter Pan metaphor, because the whole symbolism behind this, like they're all named after Lost Boys. He's supposed to be Peter Pan. They're on Neverland. And it's like, okay, yeah, if you want to look at Peter Pan that way, where he's the actual villain, he's kidnapping all the kids, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. He's super freaking annoying. But let me show you. He is 100% the knockoff Timothée Chalamet. Like, I feel like Noah Hawley, when he was writing this, he had Timothée Chalamet in mind for this part. And of course, Timothée Chalamet's like, I'm doing Dune, mofo. I ain't got time for your alien show. And also, you already have a Timothy on set. You have Timothy Oliphant. We don't got room for 2 Timothys. This dude is 100% a knockoff Timothée Chalamet. So for everybody giving me grief in the comment section for calling him that, come on, you can't deny this. I digress. So Wendy's freaking out kind of because she can hear them. Then she wants to leave the lab. Everybody is treating her like she's a child, and knockoff Timothée Chalamet is like, she's not a child. You guys all need to stop treating her this way. And I already didn't like his character. He was annoying and pushed all of my buttons from the very beginning. And he is significantly worse. And at the end of the episode, you're just like, I cannot wait for this mofo to die. And of course, the scientists are like, we were in the middle of this experiment. We were about to finish it, you know, with the kids and like the mind switching over to the synth bodies. And then he brings all these aliens, and then I hate to say it, he actually makes a good point. He's like, I'm not giving the aliens back to Waylon and Utami, because then they're going to have the bioweapons. And I was like, you know what? He kind of has a point there. Like, if I was in his position, would I want my competitor to have a weapon of mass destruction? No. So I get it, but also bringing it all back to your lab and experimenting with these extremely dangerous aliens that brought down a ginormous ship with all of these safeguards and all these scientists around. Yeah. That's not exactly the smartest idea, especially since you're in a horror franchise, right? But they don't know that they're in a horror franchise. So the next part of the episode, and I'm going to rush through these like first 20 minutes, because at the 20-minute mark, things hit the fan and get crazy. But so they have the whole setup for this like whole manipulation tactic between Wendy, her brother, knockoff Timothée Chalamet. And so Wendy is like guilting her brother. She takes him back to her room, and she's like, how come you never came to visit me in the hospital? He's like, sis, it's the middle of a war. I was on the other side of the planet, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just like randomly found out that you died, and we had a funeral for you. But if I would have known, I would have showed up. Of course, we know knockoff Timothée Chalamet is listening and watching all this. He is so threatened by any kind of connection that Wendy could have with anyone else that's not him. He wants her and like all of them everyone else to kind of be completely reliant on him, which is really twisted. In a previous episode, when the cyborg dude was looking up his file, it showed at like the very bottom of it that he had been in a car crash and people died. It didn't say who died. I kind of get the feeling like he either like killed his family or accidentally killed his family, and he's using all of this as like a coping mechanism for it, to like either that or he's just like a complete psychopath, which I mean, I don't know, maybe he's both. But he has a conversation with Wendy and he's just like, hey, like, you know, your brother didn't visit you, and he's trying to do this whole like manipulation with her to have her like on his side and on his team. And the entire episode, this dude doesn't wear any shoes. And I'm like, bro, like, put some shoes on. Like, you know, it's dirty. And he's pointing with his feet. He's doing all those things. And I'm like, are you like trying to like, I don't know, bait Quentin Tarantino to watch and review your show or something? Because, I mean, from last time I checked, I don't think he's into dudes. Maybe if you had Selma Hayek in here showing off her feet, or if you had Wendy showing off her feet, maybe. But I don't know. I feel like they were trying to channel that, and it was just not hitting the mark. And it was just making this character even more unlikable than he already is. But that was the whole dynamic between them. And we even see him like mock other characters. And then with Wendy's brother, he goes and has a talk with the security dude. And the guy's like, oh, how do you like your new lung? Because we gave you, you know, a prosthetic synthetic lung. And he's like, oh yeah. And then he's talking about like, when can I take Wendy home and like leave the island? And he's like, you can't. Here's what's going to happen. Either one, you work for us and are in debt with us for the rest of your life to pay for this lung, or two, you go home by yourself, never talk about any of this again. You never see Wendy again, and we'll send you a bill. You'll, you know, basically not be able to pay us back and be in debt for the rest of your life. So he chooses to stay there and stay employed by Prodigy. Now, it is kind of hinted at that this guy is a synth as well, because when he's having the conversation with her brother, there's like obviously the heads in the background. And so people are like theorizing that he's a synth too. I don't know if I don't know if I agree with that. There is a scene though where he like catches a ball, and it's a ball that Wendy caught. So people are like, oh, that means he's a synth. And I'm like, I don't know. At the same time, it's like, I don't really care if he is or not. Like that, he didn't really do much before. He's just kind of like the thug guy, which I'm like, what is this guy going to do? He's old and they're all synthetics. I mean, maybe if he is synthetic, he might be able to do something, but I don't know. So, but that's a little theory I've seen floating around on the internet. All right. Now we are at the 20-minute mark of the episode, and this is where the good, crazy, gory body horror stuff starts to happen. So remember back when all the aliens were there on the ship and they found the cat and it had like this crazy eyeball? It turned out to be this alien. It's like an octopus with a giant eyeball. And so what they do with it is they're like, oh, let's experiment with the eyeball and see what it's capable of. So there's a sheep, and they release the eyeball into the pen with the sheep. Now, I saw this and immediately I was like, okay, sheep are so symbolic in this universe, and I'm going to explain to you why if you are just a casual viewer and you don't know. So, remember that movie Blade Runner? Well, everybody has this like kind of fan theory that Blade Runner and Alien are in the same universe. I am one of those people. I 100% believe it. I'm like, I will die on this hill that they are in the same universe. The synths are the same and all of that. And for those that don't know, well, the inspiration for Blade Runner was this novel called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? So, hence the sheep. And also sheep were like the first animals cloned and all of that. So there's all this symbolism between the sheep, because you could have a monkey, you could have a rat, you could have a bunny, but they have a sheep for whatever reason. And so I was like, I think that confirms, I think this further solidifies this, and maybe it's just some kind of fan service, but I was like, yes, it's a sheep, yay! And then you see what happens to the sheep. It's like, oh my god, sheep, run. But so, poor sheep, they released the little alien eyeball octopus thing into the bin tank thing with the sheep, and what does it do? It takes out the eyeball, and it's horrific. The sheep's all screaming and like, rah! The eyeball gets in, and it's all disgusting and gory. And I don't know if you guys know this, but last year my poor dog got attacked and her eyeball came out, and so now my dog has one eye. So this is very traumatic for me to watch. I had to look away because I'm like, oh my god, I literally lived through this. She wasn't attacked by a psycho alien eyeball thing, but it was awful. And so seeing this, I was like, okay, that was a little too much for me. So I did not physically watch the scene, but I did hear it, and that was 100% because it was way too close to home. But once the eyeball gets in the sheep, the eyeball starts looking, and it's looking at Timothy Oliphant. And he's just like, it's intelligent. And then crazy knockoff Timothy Chalamet is looking at it, and it, like, the sheep even stands up, and it's like looking around, and then it hones in on knockoff Timothy Chalamet. And guess what? Earlier in the show, Timothée Chalamet, or knockoff Timothée Chalamet, revealed that, hey, what is his goal is that he wants to have somebody that's as smart as him, if not smarter, that he can have an intelligent conversation with. What's better than this crazy alien sheep thing? And I'm like, all right, either this is setting it up that it is going to take over him, or he is going to release it on someone so he can have a conversation with this crazy alien eyeball octopus thing. And it's like, that couldn't be a terrible idea, right? But this dude's crazy, so he's probably going to do it. Okay, but now I got to tell you my fan theory about the eyeball. So this chick, the ginger chick that's like, you know, the kid, in the last episode, I didn't really mention it in my last review because, one, you guys all know I can't stand gingers. They have no soul. I feel bad for this kid that she got put into a ginger body. I'd be like, bro, you set me up for failure from the beginning by putting me into a freaking android synthetic without a soul. But so in the, was it the first or second episode? I don't know, because the first two were like, they played at the same time, so they kind of blend together to me. I just kind of counted as one, like, super, super long episode. But so when they first got on the ship, the eyeball thing jumped out of the cat and got on her hand, and she was fighting it. And then she's like, ever since then, she's had this, like, existential crisis. She's like, why are the Lost Boys? Half of us are girls. Why does she get to be Wendy? Why did, like, we get to choose our own names? And then in this episode, Homegirl's crazy, walking around saying that she's pregnant. And when the scientist people are like, let's go have a talk. And the lady scientist, like Sylvie, is that her name? Sylvie, whatever. The scientist lady, she's like, hun, I know you're a kid, but like, do you know where babies come from? And she's like, yes, I grew up on a farm. I know where babies come from. But she's like, not all babies need a mom and a dad. Jesus, Mary, she didn't have to do that to have a baby. And you could just see the scientist lady is like, so you think that you're like Jesus? It's like, okay. But I was like, wait a second. She started acting weird after that eyeball thing touched her. And yes, she's synthetic, but that eyeball thing, they even made a point of talking about how it's intelligent and how it's assessing them. And I mean, we don't know how on the ship all of the aliens got loose. So maybe it was the eyeball octopus, and just maybe the eyeball octopus is like, why should I waste my time on organic beings when there's this great synthetic superpowered body? And as I'm watching this, and like, she's literally losing her mind in this episode. So she even attacks the freaking scientist lady. So the scientist lady, her and her husband, like, they go out into like, they don't even go far enough. I'm like, the other kid at least like goes off into the freaking jungle, into the plains, looking at the sea, super far away, like miles away from like their little research science station. But instead, her and her husband, he's like, hey, let me just take you out into the yard where the trees are, where they totally can't see us, even though we see them like through the cameras. But he's just like, this is wrong. Like, either we just killed kids, or, you know, they're just like synthetic, or they're just imprints of it. And then she shows up and she's like, I'm pregnant. And they're like, ooh, there's something wrong with you, because there ain't no way you're pregnant. You're in a synthetic body. And then that's when she's like, oh, I'm Jesus. And then when she starts pushing her on it, she kind of like jumps across the room and attacks her. Now, this is a big thing. It is illegal to make synthetic beings that can attack humans. And by her being able to just do this, it's like, okay, they don't have some safeguards turned on. So then she calms her down. She goes over. She's got a little panic room button. She pushes the panic room button. She's like, oh, sorry, sweetheart. We actually can't have tea. I got to talk with a main boss dude. And then she leaves. But it's like, homegirl is just losing her freaking mind. She's going crazy. And I think it's just going to get worse. But I honestly think, and you guys can call me crazy, but I think something happened with that eyeball octopus thing. I think in the episode where they're on the ship and it like got her and it got on her hands, ever since then she's been acting crazy. Now, I kind of wrote her off as just like some weird and annoying character, because I'm like, it's a ginger. She's got no soul anyway. Whatever. Maybe she's broken. I don't know. But now I'm like, after the eyeball thing, I'm like, oh my gosh. If that eyeball thing were smart, it would find some way to take over one of these synthetic bodies, because then no one can stop it. Super strengths live forever. You don't got to go jumping from host to host. I don't know how it gets like nutrients or something, but if it's intelligent, maybe it can figure it out for itself. And that would be kind of cool to see. The eyeball thing in a synthetic body taking on an alien and like a xenomorph. And it was a big thing for them to say xenomorph, and then he's saying it in this episode, so I can just like, I can hear certain people going, yay, they're saying xenomorph. But let me know in the comment section if you guys agree with my fan there, if you guys think the eyeball infected her, or maybe it laid eggs in her, I don't know. But I think ever since she had touched that eyeball, she's been acting crazy. I could be wrong, but that's my fan theory on this. Okay, so now we get to the Cyborg dude. Now this arc I hate the most, going along with like the Peter Pan theme. So remember with Peter Pan, Captain Hook manipulates Tinkerbell to give away the location of Peter Pan's hideaway. Well, that's kind of what's going on here. So his goal is to get the xenomorph back to Weyland Yutani. And how is he doing that? Well, when he ran into the kids, the one Indian kid, he touched his neck and he put some kind of like communication device on him. And so he's talks to the kid at times. Now, Prodigy are aware of this. Specifically, Timothy Oliphant is completely aware of this, and like he noticed that something was off. The security dude knew something was off. The kids it's already been revealed to them that their eyes are cameras, and you know the fact that they're talking, they should know that there's some kind of recording device. Again, they are children, so it's like maybe it went over their heads. But so this episode, it's really like uncomfortable because I don't like watching people take advantage of children. I don't think any normal person does. So it's meant to be uncomfortable, but it is really hard for me to watch those scenes. Like, yes, there's body horror and like sheep manipulation, but when you see this dude manipulating a child, it's like it rubs me completely the wrong way, but it's supposed to be like that. So he's talking to Slightly and you know, just kind of continuing to manipulate him. He's like, oh, what's your real name? So he tells him his real name. And of course, this dude goes and finds this kid's real family. And he already knew, like, based on the way that when he met the kids, that they weren't acting like adults, that they were acting like children. So he knew immediately that something was different. And of course, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. So he obviously figured it out. And so then he's talking to the kid and he wants the kid to get him an egg. The kid tells him the next time that they speak, I can't get you an egg. Like the lab's way too high security. There's too many people. There's too many guards. There's too many safeguards. I would never be able to get one out. And so then this dude, next time they talk to him, he's like, hey, I'm with your mother. Your mom didn't know you were alive. And basically insinuates to the kid that if he doesn't do what he tells him, he's going to kill his mom and his brothers. So what he tells him to do, he's like, take someone in there, put them in front of the egg. The egg is going to open. Something's going to jump on their face. You're going to have to hide them in a closet or something for a couple days. And then once they wake up, you need to get that person out of there and bring the person to me. I will be there on the island waiting for you. And he's like, what's going to happen to the person? And he's like, they're not going to have a good couple days. And all of us that know are like, that's a bit of an understatement, dude. But so there's this scene where all of the like synthetic kids are like sitting, they're playing Jenga with like giant cement blocks. And it's like, I get it that they have like super strength. I'm like, if those cement blocks fall and break, they're going to break the floor, but whatever. And so this kid is all happy because he gave himself a new name. He's been helping Timothy Oliphant in the lab and he named himself Isaac, like Isaac Newton. And it's like, oh, cool. And also there's some other stuff that is behind the name Isaac, but it's like, oh, yay, that was clever, kid. And so they're hanging out with her brother. This is the chick that wants to replace her. Then this was the kid that was with the Indian kid that met the cyborg dude, but he didn't get microchipped with the communication device, so he got on the lucky end. I also think he's got kind of more of a stronger personality, so I think he would have fought back more in the cyborg. But that's how predators work. They seek out the weakest and go for them, which is unfortunate for that kid. But so they're hanging out and talking, and then she asks the brother about, you know, the corporations. And that's when he explains that the world used to have governments and people, you know, would vote for world leaders, but that didn't work out. So now the world is controlled by 5 companies, Prodigy being one of them. And all of us watching, you're like, yeah, no wonder you're in one of the like worst worlds ever. Like out of all of the, I guess when you look at movies or TV shows like sci-fi and stuff like that and like what the future could possibly be, it's pretty bad. I mean, Terminator future is pretty bad too. But I personally wouldn't want to live in their future, and I don't really know many people that would want to live in this version of reality Earth, but that's just me. And so then Slightly shows up, and he's like, why is he here? Why can't my parents be here? Like, why can't any of our family be here? And Isaac and her are just like, well, we don't want our family to be here, because he was trying to like get them all to say, hey, let's go to knock off Timothy Chalamet and like demand that our families be here since her brother's here. But they don't go for it. They all kind of like that they're, you know, treated differently. They're treated special here. Whereas if their parents and their siblings were here, they wouldn't be treated that way. So they're against it. So poor kid tried to make an attempt to kind of protect his family, and he's very upset that she gets her brother here and that his are obviously vulnerable and they're being threatened and held hostage. So he's pretty upset, and that's when he picks who his victim is going to be. Because later in the episode, we have like the creepy stalker vision of him staring at her brother like through the window. So he is going to, probably in the next episode, somehow try to get her brother into the lab to get in front of a face hugger, and he is the chosen victim. So, you know, things are going to get good next episode. Now back to the secret lab. We have Timothy Oliphant, and it's like this weird scene where he goes in and he like starts touching the eggs and he gets like all this slime, and it's like everything about the aliens and xenomorphs are like gross and is supposed to make you uncomfortable. And just looking at those eggs, I'm like, stop it. It's probably slimy. It probably smells awful. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you guys ever watched Labyrinth, but like the bog of eternal stench. I feel like that's what the eggs kind of embody. And so he goes in and touches it, and it's like, I feel like there's always that one synth in all the alien movies where it's like he's the smartest person in the room. He is the kind of off-putting one that, is like, he's just standing there, and it's like, he can kill you at any moment, and he's just assessing the situation. And he's up to something, but I kind of hate every character, so I'm like, I'm kind of rooting for him to do whatever it is he's going to do, and I'm interested to see what he's got up his sleeve, because he keeps getting mocked by knockoff Timothy Chalamet every episode. It's like he relies on him for some things, and then he degrades him and demoralizes him and like talks down to him over and over again. So I'm like, bruh, you're messing with the wrong dude. Like, I already know. I can't wait for something to happen to that guy, and I'm interested to see what he's got planned. But he's definitely fixated on the eggs and the xenomorphs, and in the next scene, it comes into play a little bit more. So let's get to that. The final epic moment of this episode. Wendy finally makes her way into the secret lab, and in the beginning of this episode, they taught her how to make the alien sounds. They're like, oh, the same way that you were able to tap into the security cameras, so that way you could basically stalk and watch your brother at all times. You know, just, you know what that sounds like in your mind. Now just use like your vocal mechanics to basically emulate that sound. And so she goes up to the lung that we already know was implanted with a little baby alien, and she starts making the sound, and guess what? It pops out. Like, guys, I kid you not. She's like, woo, and little baby Chestbuster's like, ooh, all looking at her, and she starts petting it, and like, oh, it's a little baby Chestbuster. And you know what's weird? It's like, she already knows that this thing's gonna turn into a giant xenomorph because she killed one. She had to fight one. It like basically made her brother completely indebted to Prodigy because it stabbed his lung with its tail. But it's like, you gotta be kidding me. The way that she's acting with this little baby Chestbuster is like I'm acting with a stuffed baby Chestbuster. It's like, all right, so this is going to be interesting. What's going to happen next? Because we know that these things grow really freaking quickly. So what's going to happen next episode when the baby Chestbuster is a giant man-killing, bloodthirsty xenomorph? What is going to happen? But yeah, I will admit, this episode had me on the edge of my seat 20 minutes on. The beginning of it, I was like, oh, this is a filler episode. And then at 20-minute mark, it's like, hold my beer, Anna, because shit's about to get crazy and hit the fan. And I was like, oh my God, it's not just a filler episode. I mean, it kind of is a filler episode, but it's probably the most exciting filler episode I've ever seen. I was like, oh my God. Like, I will be honest, I really wasn't on board with this show. It was like, there's a lot of problems that I have with this show. And then in this episode, I was like, well, you know what? At least I'm entertained. I might not be afraid. I might be disturbed at some of the things. I am still not scared yet. This next episode, I think what's going to happen is Slightly is going to try to get her brother with the face hugger, and we'll see what happens there. Something is going to go terribly wrong now that the chestbuster is out and is going to grow from a little baby chestbuster to a giant man-killing xenomorph. And I'm interested to see what happens. And now that we know that that one cyborg dude knows where the island is and is going to somehow be at the island to get whoever gets infected with the xenomorph. So I think shit is probably going to really hit the fan in the next episode. And I'm also interested in to see if my theory is correct about the eyeball octopus alien infecting that synthetic ginger chick. Which, I mean, he picked the soulless one. So maybe that was why. Maybe that was why. The soulless one and then like the whiny one are the two that got manipulated. We shall see. But that is my review for this episode. It was exciting. I'm totally invested now. I can't wait to see where this thing goes. And that's my 2 cents on it. So you guys let me know what you think about all of this in the comments section. Yes, now I'm excited. I'm playing with my stuffed animals. I never really get to use this one. I always have the face hugger on my microphone, but this one never really gets any attention. So congratulations. You finally got your moment to shine, dude. But so let me know what you think down below in the comment section. If you guys watched all the way to the end, please leave a comment saying MVP so that way I know that you guys made it to the end. And if you guys liked this video, please smash the like button. If you didn't, that's okay, dude. Thank you so much for watching this far through. And if you haven't, take a minute, smash the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. Make sure that that bell is set to all, that we actually get notifications when I post videos and when I do live streams. I do live streams every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's called TSWG Live. So check it out if you guys are interested in seeing my live content. And until next time, guys, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really gonna need it. Bye, everyone. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for supporting my videos and watching my content. If you guys would like to support the channel further, go over to my Etsy and check it out. I got a lot of cool stuff over here. I have postcard prints, stickers, posters, bookmarks, lots and lots and lots of stuff over here. A lot of it is from videos that you guys have seen here on my channel, and I'm always adding to it. So go and check it out. The link is down in the description of this video. Thank you. Hey, want to send me some mail? Cool. Send it to Anna, TSWG, at P.O. Box 28171, Santa Ana, California, 92799-8171. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.